It's almost 17 years ago, but I remember like it was yesterday. I was broke, living with my mom still. I started a business and living with my mom, by the way, in a one-bedroom apartment, working out of her living room, sleeping on a fold-out couch, and working really long hours, 7 days a week, 14, 15 hours a day. My health was taking its toll and didn't really have much to show for it. And I remember one day, about 6 o'clock, my mom came home, and I love my mom to death. Obviously, I'm very thankful to her because without what she did, I wouldn't be doing what I am today. But I remember her coming home, and it was like 6 o'clock, and I'd been working since before she left, after being up till like 3 in the morning the night before. And she was like, "Do you ever stop working? Like you were working before I left. You're working when I get home. You're gonna be working for another 7 hours tonight." And I remember saying something like, "Mom, that's what it takes to be successful." And she said, "It sure doesn't look like you're successful to me." Just like, it took the wind out of my sails because I loved what I was doing. I was having fun with my business. It wasn't very successful. We were bringing in maybe $2,000 a month in profit, and there were three of us. So you split that three ways. I actually took the lion's share of it because they had other businesses, but still I was making literally like $1,000 a month. I was living off of Totino's pizza and what were those things called? I still can't even, the pizza bites, those stupid pizza bites. And like, nothing I ate could cost more than like $2. I didn't have any money. I was trying to pay some money for rent, and I was paying the utilities, but for the most part, like I was pretty bad off, at least for America, right? And so I remember when she said that, like for a moment, it really took the wind out of my sails. But I knew I would be successful. I knew I would be successful. And there were two reasons for this. There were two reasons why I knew deep down inside that I would be successful with my business. And the first one was I was learning every day. Now, I was learning from experience. I was learning the hard way, the school of hard knocks per se. I was learning from that, but I was also learning from books. I was learning just reading. I became a student of marketing. And that was really the genesis of me just falling in love with marketing because I loved every day I was trying something. And sometimes it would work and sometimes it wouldn't. But when I would try something, it would work and I could see the results. And I remember learning SEO and, we had our first number one ranking for a pretty competitive term. And it was like, this was a free $40 a day. $40 a day to us might as well have been $1 million. Actually, $1 million would have been better. But like this was a big deal, $40 a day. And then we got another keyword. It was like $30 a day in revenue. I'm like, $70, like we have a legitimate business now. It's $70 a day, and on top of what we're making, like we're getting there, right? And then we found some other keywords and we did this. I remember learning like little conversion tactics that increased our revenue 10, 20, 30, $50 a day. I was like, all right. And then we just scaled that. Years later, we were applying these principles to do, thousands of dollars a day, $50,000 a day. Plus we were doing $18 million a year. The second reason that I just knew I would be successful was that I was surrounding myself with the right people. Like I had the right environment. So learning every day and environment were the two big reasons. I was still broke. I was still living with my mom, but I had the confidence that it takes to succeed because of learning, because of books, and because of the right environment. Charlie Tremendous Jones used to say, I might get this quote a little bit off, but he said, "You will be the same person 5 years from now that you are today, except for the books you read and the people that you surround yourself with." I think he said it's except for the people you meet and the books you read. In other words, environment and books, environment and learning. So let's take a look at both of those reasons. The first one is the learning. I learned from really two places. I learned from books, as I was talking about, and I learned from people. I learned from my mastermind groups, and both of those were a huge help. I really like one without the other, and it really wasn't a complete package for me. Obviously, for me, books at that time, it was just sheer volume. Like the amount of information I was ingesting on a daily basis was astonishing. I would, I was just constantly reading, constantly listening, even though this is really before audiobooks, were super popular. But still, I remember I had so many audiobooks on CD, and I would take those, my little Walkman, I think it was, I don't even remember what they were called. Discman. They were called Discmans. I had my little Discman, and I'd be out there like walking the dog and listening, and every like 2 minutes it'd skip, and I'd miss something and have to rewind, and do all that. It was like way old school, right? But like I was constantly learning, constantly getting new ideas because of that. Then I'm talking to my mastermind group, and they're sharing things, and we're getting ideas, and talking with my business partners, and just every day, like I said, we were getting like one or two new ideas, and some of them totally never panned out. One of those ideas for me was, why don't we start an affiliate program? This is 2003. These weren't very popular back then. Well, naturally, if you know anything about my story, that completely changed my life. That one moment completely changed my life. And then environment, this is the people that I was around. This is, again, those masterminds, those mastermind groups. Just being around people who, A, had a ton of information, a ton of experience, and B, would encourage me. There were days in that, there's still days in my business today. But there were days in my business where I was just like, I was ready to give up. I said I was working a lot, but admittedly, there were days every couple of months where I'd wake up and I'm going to work so hard, I'm going to get so much done, and then something would go wrong, and I would just hit the wall. And for the rest of the day, I would just want to sit there eating snacks and watching Golden Girls reruns. It's a great show. Don't knock me. Don't knock me on that one. Um, like I was out of it. I don't know if you ever felt like that, but it is like it's the closest to depression that I think I've ever felt. Like I really think I was just depressed. I felt like I couldn't do anything right. And yeah, I have those days every now and again now. But back then when, I'm like broke and living with my mom, it was worse, It was absolutely worse. And so as I think about these things, what, Charlie Tremendous Jones says with, you're going to be the same person 5 years from now, except for the people you meet in the books you read. And I would take that one step further. It's not just the people you meet, it's the people whose relationships you actually capitalize on, that you invest in them and they invest in you to the point where, I'll give you an example. Yesterday, I had a big problem in my business that was costing me 3 hours a month. 3 hours a month, that's roughly 2% of my entire month that I know I'm wasting. And I just texted a guy, a competitor actually, but we're friends. I texted him and said, hey, got a sec? He called me within 30 seconds. And within 5 minutes on the phone with him, I had solved that problem. And I told him, like, dude, you saved me 36 hours a year. That is almost a full work week every year that he saved me in a 5-minute phone call, 30 seconds after I texted him. Why? Because we'd invested in each other. We'd invested in that relationship. So I'm reminded of something I heard recently on a podcast about oak trees. I didn't know this. You take an oak tree and you put it in like a little pot, and it'll grow so tall, not very tall. It doesn't have room to grow. The roots can't go anywhere. You take that same oak tree and from when it's being born, I guess, when it's developing, germinating, you put it in my yard, and I'm afraid of strong winds. Like, because if that oak tree in our front yard falls through my house, I'm dead. It's massive oak tree in my yard. That's the difference between a small environment and a big environment. Koi are the same way. I learned this. We have a really cool pond out back, and we have all these beautiful koi. They're all this big. They're tiny. Our pond is like the size of a hotel suite. It's not that big. The koi that I'm used to that are in the pond that like are across our creek that our neighbors have, those things are massive. They're huge. Same fish, different environment. Same fish, different environment. One of them was limited in how big it could get. The other had smaller limitations. I don't know. What happens if you put a koi in Lake Michigan? They probably freeze to death, actually. But I don't know. Like, what happens if you put a koi in even a bigger lake? I don't know. They grow this big? I don't know. But either way, at some point, they're going to reach their maximum size because they had the room to do that. So my questions for you are, first, what books are you reading? Are you reading the right ones to truly get better in marketing? Secondly, what are you getting out of them? Like, that's more important, actually. What are you actually getting out of those books? Are you getting actionable information out of those books? Are you putting them into practice? And then third, what's your environment? Who are you surrounding yourself with? Because if you're not surrounding yourself with the right people, then it really doesn't matter what information you're getting. And it's these two things, the opportunity to learn and the chance to surround yourself with amazing people. That's why I'm so excited about the Marketer's Box, because it's the opportunity to do both. You get to get the right books, the right information, the right action steps, the right practical application. Those are both awesome reasons. And then you also get to surround yourself with like-minded people. You get to surround yourself with people who are going to lift you up when you're down. You get to surround yourself with people who have a different perspective. You get to surround yourself with people who have success stories, who took the same thing that you tried to do and maybe you weren't successful, but they were. And it's one little thing, one little mindset shift, and you go, got it. I can do this. And it's, sometimes it is just the I can do this that helps. And sometimes it's the, well, I see that if, I was trying to add A plus B to get C, and they added A plus D and got C, whatever it is, it's just sometimes they have a different formula, a different take on something, and it works. So don't limit yourself to a small pot or a small pond. Surround yourself with people who are going to make you better. Get the right information in the right way. So I hope you'll join us in the Marketer's Box today. Tons of people are joining. We're stoked, and we want you to be a part of the community, a part of the learning process, and a part of this fraternity, sorority, organization, whatever you want to call it, part of this awesome family of marketers. So go check it out, themarketersbox.com.